Hey, successful. Oh my gosh, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be here and I'm so excited to share this testimony. Can I just start by saying God is amazing. He is such a mastermind. I don't even have words. God is so good. And I'm so grateful to be God's baby, his daughter. Oh my goodness. So if you saw the title of this video, we're going to talk about how I disqualified myself from this very home that I'm sitting in, and God qualified me, okay? He made sure that I knew that it was none of my doing, because it really wasn't, you guys. It really wasn't. So let's go ahead into this testimony. Grab some popcorn, some water, whatever you want to grab, and just sit here and let's talk about the goodness of the Lord, all right? And I wanted to share this especially because whenever I was on the hunt for a home, I was seeking out videos on YouTube to just get excited, to just build my faith, and to just be excited about how God is moving in other people's lives. So I know that this is going to be for somebody out there on your journey. Keep the faith, keep trusting the Lord, and just keep your head up, because when God does his thing, it's always so worth it in the end. It's so crazy how that works. Like, it's funny because I was saying that during the process. I was like, you know what? This sucks. But I know it's one of those things where you look back and you're like, this was so worth it. You know, God he always makes sure that every single thing, everything, the mistakes, the hard times, or whatever works out for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. Literally, you guys. All right, so let's rewind. Oh, I'm pregnant also. We haven't talked about that on the channel yet, but we'll talk about another video, okay? Today is about the house, all right? All right, so how do I even start this? So last year, 2025, my husband and I knew that we were wanting to move into a home after our lease ended. So our lease was ending in November of 2025. So we were already kind of preparing to buy a home. And the first thing that we needed to do was to sell the condo that we currently owned, okay, at the time. So this condo was so hard to sell. We actually put it on the market around August, I want to say, maybe a little bit earlier, but I think it actually went live August on the market around that time, and it didn't sell for such a long time. It didn't sell out of 2025, and it didn't sell until February of 2026. First of all, that whole thing is so painful for me to talk about because I bought that condo at in 2018 at 179, I want to say. Is it 179? No, 169, okay? And y'all, I sold it for 170 in 2026. Moment of silence. Because what? Anyway, the market has just been really, really tough for sellers, especially in Texas. But then also that condo was so ridiculous. It's the same condo I had a video about because I went to the Dave Ramsey show asking if I should sell that condo. Oh my gosh, I'm like everywhere right now. But anyway, the condo, I couldn't put it for a higher price because the HOA was disgusting. The HOA was at $750 a month. We're paying that plus the mortgage, okay? And because it's an older condo and the HOA is so high, and nobody knows why it's so high, but another conversation, okay? Another conversation. It was just hard to mark up the price because the HOA was already so high and it was a buyer's market. And so it was really hard for sellers during that time, even now still, right? So it was on the market for a while. We had people that were interested. Like, we had so many showings and we had a couple contracts, but they just fell through. And it wasn't until February that the contract that we had actually came into fruition and they actually bought the house. Thank the Lord, because I was getting so discouraged. In order to buy, we absolutely had to sell the condo so that our debt to income ratio wasn't extremely high when we're going to purchase a mortgage from a bank, right? So that process was so humbling, and I'm so grateful for our family. I'm grateful for our pastors, our friends, just for praying with us, keeping us in prayer, and just continuously encouraging us in this journey, because it was not easy. All right. So when we moved out of our apartment in November 2025, we actually ended up moving into, we were going to move into the condo thinking, you know what, it's not selling yet. Let's just move into it and we'll just sell it while we're there. The day before we're about to literally move into the condo, we get under contract with someone thinking that, oh my gosh, somebody's going to buy the house. So we said, okay, great. We're just going to move into our parents' home and then just wait it out there until we sell the condo and then we buy our house. And then that contract ended up falling through, so they didn't buy the house. But we already had moved into our parents' house, so it was like, whatever, we'll just stay there. And then we ended up moving to our sister's house, just switch it up a little bit. And other sister's house, we were literally hopping around for a minute. And then we stayed in one of my sister's houses for a little bit longer while we were actually trying to sell and buy our house, right? So that's just the backstory, okay? It was a lot. And it was in the midst of that time that I found out that I was pregnant. I found out in January I was pregnant, and we were living at our parents', and we're just like, what are we doing? We need a house to live in. I'm pregnant now. Like, where are we gonna put this baby? Where are we gonna nest? Where are we gonna do all these things? And I was starting to be like, Lord, I trust you, but this was scary. Okay. I was like, what is going on? And finances were also tight. I mean, there was just so much happening. So let's fast forward to actually the house buying process and looking for this specific house, okay? So we sold the condo in February, yay, praise the Lord. But from there, we didn't buy it and close on the house until May, right? So it was also a good bit of time before we actually found our home. Meanwhile, we were, looking for houses, going to see houses, all these things, doing all the things that we're supposed to do. And we just were not liking the homes that we were seeing. And the thing is, we wanted to be really close to our sisters because they live like 5 minutes apart from each other. And we wanted to be really close too because then we can just help each other out with the kids and everything like that to make it easier on us. But the neighborhood prices were high, okay? They were high. So we're like, okay, maybe we should go a little bit further out just to save some money. Maybe we should just get a smaller home. Like, I was not even trying to have a specific house. I love houses with lighting, like with tall ceilings, with big windows. I've always loved that. But at the time I was like, you know what? If we need to just settle and get something a little bit smaller and focus on paying off debt and just doing and saving and then getting a bigger house, I was okay with that. But even that, I feel like the houses we were finding were just not it. I was not willing to settle on those houses, okay? And so we did find this one house. We walked in, I was like, this is really beautiful. It had the tall ceilings, it had the windows and everything like that. And we actually ended up putting in an offer on that property. And put in an offer, they counter offered and they wanted something more. They wanted, I think, like $5,000 or $10,000 more, which is actually not a lot for housing, but I don't know why I just didn't feel peace about moving forward with that house. I prayed about it, Jesse prayed about it, and we were just kind of like, no, it's just gonna have to be no. We just didn't feel like we should pay more for that house. Even though I really love that house, yes, it was the best house we've seen so far. But I just was just like, no, it didn't feel right. It was only 7 minutes away from my sister's houses. It was perfect. We said, no, we won't counter offer for that much. We wanted that price that we originally sent, and they said no, and they wanted another buyer. And after that, I really kind of felt like, oh my gosh, did I just miss the opportunity to actually have a house that I like? Like, what was that about? I was so mad at myself. But then I was just like, you know what? I prayed about it. I have to be confident that the Lord is in this. And if he didn't release me to like go ahead and do that, it's going to be okay. A couple months go by from that time and we're still looking for houses. And one day I see this house on the Zillow app and I'm like, ooh, this is really, really, really pretty. And I immediately thought to myself, we could not buy this right now. It's out of budget. It's a little bit further than what we wanted. I think it was 12 minutes away and we wanted to be under 10 minutes. That's so particular, but like that's how particular we were being at the time, okay? And I was just like, this is so beautiful. There is no way we could live here right now. Like, not with this budget. No. Okay? And so I just kind of kept scrolling. I was just like, I wish I could live there. Like, I could not live there. Scroll, okay? And then a couple weeks go by, and then at this time, we were actually looking to go a little bit further out because it was so hard to find a house that was close. Actually, we did find another house that was only 3 minutes away. The house was actually really beautiful. It was newly updated, but again, I didn't feel at peace about saying yes to that house, like again. And I always remember my mom, whenever she bought our home, when we moved to the US, Mom used to always say whenever a woman walks into her kitchen, she knows it's her home. So that has stayed with me since I was literally like 10 years old, all the way till now at 29 years old. I'm like, it didn't feel like my home when I walked into the kitchen. So shout out to my mommy. My mommy helped me with that because that was always my thing. Like, do I feel like this is my home in my kitchen? And I didn't. I was like, I don't see myself cooking here. I don't see myself being here with my family. Like, as a woman of the house, I was like, no, this is not it. It's so funny to think about. Anyway. So yeah, I didn't like that house either. And it was actually the budget that we wanted. Had the high ceilings, it had the big windows. But when I walked into the kitchen, it didn't feel like my kitchen, you know? So I was like, no. And that's another one that I was like scared that I turned away, that I wasn't supposed to turn away, but I didn't feel peace. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let it go. Anyway, back to this house, right? So at this point, we were like, okay, let's look for houses that are a little bit further out. And even if it's a little bit more expensive, if it's been on the market for a long time, let's go see it and see if we can negotiate the price with the seller, right? So at this time, I go back on Zillow and I widen the boundaries, and I see this house again, and I'm like, oh, this house is so beautiful. But guys, it had only been on the market at that time for like, I think 7 days. Like last time I saw it, it was 2 days and it was 7 days. I was like, this house has not been on the market for a long time. But I'm gonna go ahead and send it. It's out of budget. It's a little bit further, so it's 12 minutes away. But it's so beautiful. I just want to see it. I just want to see it in person. Okay. So I sent it to my realtor and my husband in our little group chat. And so we went to see the house. And I kid you not, as we walked into the home, my realtor was sitting on the staircase and she looked straight at me in my eyes and she was like, welcome home. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. It felt like it was airy. The ceilings were high, like exactly what I wanted in a home it had. But I just felt like this is too nice. Like I honestly felt like this was too nice for me. I was like, how can he possibly get something like this? Like there's no way, right? I just wanted to come see it for fun because it was just so pretty. I had to come see it for myself, but it's the way we can actually get this house, right? Like, and so I actually told our realtor, shout out to Mrs. Margaret, I was like, can we just see? Like, can we just reach out and see, if they would consider an offer? Because we're gonna definitely offer way lower than what the price is, but like, let's just see what they'll say, right? So she did. She reached out to him and she asked if they'll be interested in seeing an offer, even if it was like a bargain, like $20,000 to $25,000 less. And he just never replied. Well, at first he did tell her that, oh, they actually had another buyer that was interested and they were like, what's it called? Contingent to sell. So basically if you own a home and you want to buy a home, you can get under contract to buy a home, but it's contingent that you sell your house, right? So you have to sell your house by the closing date. That's what they had as a buyer. And they were like, oh, but we're interested in seeing other buyers and things like that. And then she was like, yeah, we would like to know, if you would consider this. And he just never answered her. Literally 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks went by. We didn't hear anything. And I was like, why would you ever do that? And then I see online that the house is under contract. And we're like, you know what? Somebody else is going to buy the house. It's going to be all right. It was nice to see it anyway in person. But what I did do while I was here, actually right where I'm standing right here, I recorded a video, like one of those transition videos for pregnant transition videos. Like, I swear 16 was yesterday and now I'm closer to 28. I recorded that because I think I was around like 17 weeks. And I recorded that video to be like, you know what? I'll be here at 28 weeks. Yo, that's next week. That's next week. God is so good. Okay. Anyway, I just remember that because I was just like, you know what? If this house is ours, this video will be completed, and it's gonna be completed next week, you guys, which is so amazing. God is so good. He's so good. Anyway, so yeah, so we saw that it was on the contract. We're like, you know what? It's not our house. It's just time to move on. It's going to be okay. So we just kept looking for houses, and I kid you not, you guys, nothing was looking good. Nothing. Okay. Anyway, fast forward so it had been like 2 to 3 weeks that he didn't answer. We saw it was under contract. Another week goes by after that, and I see on my Zillow app that this house is back under contract, and the price is lower than it was before. It's not as low as you wanted it to be, but the price went down, okay? So I text the group chat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Margaret, let's reach out to this seller because it looks like the house is back on the market. Let's see if they're interested in budging or whatever. So she did, and then he said, okay, we want to see a contract, a physical contract, like in the email, not just, all this chatting. And so we wrote a contract that night, and the next day they accepted the offer. And mind you, the offer was $20,000 less than the asking price, and we asked for $10,000 back in closing costs. Tell me God isn't good. Actually, am I saying that right? No, I think the offer was $15,000 less than what was put on the thing. And then we asked for $10,000 back in closing costs. God is so good. God is so good. So not only were we able to close with lower cash, we also got the house for a really good deal, okay? And then, you guys, the testimony is not even over yet. And then, when we actually go to inspection, right? Because my realtor was like, let's not get too excited. Let's inspect the house. Let's make sure that, you guys could actually live here and be at peace and not have too many things that are broken. Everything looks good. They just installed new roof, new carpet, new painting. The AC system is good. Like, a lot of the big things are great, okay? We get the appraisal. The appraisal says that it's worth $50,000 more than what we're buying it for. Walking in with equity. God is so, like, first of all, I went from, there is no way we can have this house, scroll, to, this is your house and you're walking in with equity. What? When I tell you God is so good, I was so shocked.com, because I don't know. I just remember being here and be like, there is no way. And I remember I was talking to one of my friends, in Asia. Shout out to Asia. And I was telling her, before we even tried for this house, I think it was after I had seen the house, I was telling her, girl, we saw this house, it's so pretty, but yeah, we could never buy it. It's so expensive. I remember telling her that, and come back and be like, yeah, girl, we bought the house. What? I think something else that was so cool about it too was that because actually before we weren't able to get approved for how much we got approved for now, until I had to fix some things with our payments that we had. And right when we saw this house, it's a lot of those things just kind of worked out and got restructured. And it's just so crazy to think about, because I think that if we had those things restructured when we were looking at that other house that they had counter offered, we probably would have went for that, because we would have oh, it's fine, we can do it. But that wasn't a thing until after we saw this house. So it's God literally just made things work and just align for us. As soon as we laid eyes on this house, it was everything else just kind of worked together and just aligned themselves so we could buy the house. And what was amazing was that the first time I saw the house, it was when it was 2 days on the market. 2 days. And then when I saw it again and decided to send it to the group chat, it was on the market for 7 days. And so it just makes me to think about it. God literally had us wait for what we truly wanted. Because we were looking for houses since October of last year. But this house went on the market and I saw it 2 days later, and we got it, I think, total 60 days later, after all the stuff that I just talked to you guys about and actually the closing process. So it's this house was put on the market for us, literally for us. If it was put on the market any time earlier, we probably wouldn't be able to get it, because we weren't able to buy a house yet, because we're still selling our condo. So I just wanted to share this testimony because God is so intentional. He's so good. And even when you feel like you were in the trenches, because I felt like I was in the trenches. I felt like, girl, what are you doing with your life? You're about to have a baby and you don't have a place to put this baby. Get it together. I mean, to be fair, I do have family and I'm so grateful for family, but we both really just wanted our own space to be able to have the baby, right? Of course, to nest and all that stuff. But I will say, I have an amazing family, so I definitely had a place to sleep every night. Thank God for my family. But I am just so grateful that this worked out the way it did. And this is just to encourage any one of you, just trust the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. I remember in those times where we would come home after seeing 7 houses and they all sucked. We just look at each other and we'd be like, let's trust the Lord. Let's not trust our thoughts. Let's not, be persuaded by whatever our thoughts or our mind or whatever the devil was saying. Let's just trust the Lord. And it was hard, but I am so grateful that my husband and I we were so focused on just trusting the Lord. I'm not saying we happily did it every time, but we knew that even in frustration, even in the sad moments, we had to just believe with all of our might that God was making it work together for us because we love him. And that's exactly what was happening. Looking back, it's that's exactly what was happening. But in the moment, it felt like, when is this going to happen? And also, why is it so hard for us? We supposed to buy a house. We adults, we supposed to be buying a house. Easy, But this process was so back and forth. I think it's also really humbling for me because I bought a house before, the condo. And that process, I feel like it went so much easier than what this process was. So it was just a very different experience, very humbling experience, very much Lord, I need you. I need you. Please, I need you kind of experience. And I think the other thing about it that I loved so much was that this was not one of those moments where I had faith and I prayed in the name of Jesus and this came to pass because I prophesied it. It was not. And I'm so used to having testimonies like that because I think it is important to know your authority as a believer and to walk in faith, especially when you hear the word of the Lord, to take that word and go to battle with it. But honestly, when it came to the house, I knew that God was going to give us a house that was beautiful and one that we could start to raise our family in. But I hadn't really gotten a word specifically about this is the type of house that you wanted. It wasn't like I knew that, okay, we're going to have this house. Or like when I walked into this house and I didn't feel like, okay, God, this is the house you want for me. I'm going to claim it, in Jesus' name. It wasn't one of those situations. It was genuinely the mercy of God. Like when I was praying about this situation of buying a house, I was just saying, Lord, let your will be done. Like, I just want your will, even if it's not exactly how I thought it was going to work out. I know that you're going to work it out in the long run. So just let your will be done. Don't let me make a decision that's going to be detrimental for my finances, for my future. Like, I was so tired of making decisions that are bad for my future. So I was just like, Lord, let your will be done. And so I think I was just so shocked that we were able to get this because it was just God moving me out of his way and doing what God does best. Like, it's just so humbling to be God's baby. Like, I felt like I was just God's baby. And those nights where I'd be crying, go to sleep, I'd be like, Lord, let your will be done. I was just giving it to him. Like, I trust you, Lord. It's going to be all right. Like, and at some point, my husband and I did write down what we wanted in a house, right? But I took that and I was like, Lord, I'm willing to surrender this to you. Like, I don't have to have this right now. I can have this in 5 years and it's going to be absolutely okay. I just want a place where I can be able to raise my children, be close to my sisters, and love you and praise you and serve you. Like, that was my thing. And so I think that's why I was so shocked because I wasn't striving for this. Like, it just kind of just worked out, And I'm not saying that it's not good to strive. We should absolutely receive the word of God and we go to battle with that word and we, do according to that word. That is important. Faith without works is dead. I'm just simply saying that it's okay to lean on God. It's okay to lean on the mercy of God. And that's just something that I experienced this time around. And I'm just so grateful that I did because I just never have experience. Maybe I have, but not in this big way before. So anyway, I'm chatting right now, but this is just to thank the Lord and to encourage anyone out there. If you're on this journey currently, just trust the Lord. God has it figured out. He really does. And I know it's so hard to hear that from somebody that already got there, But whenever I was listening to these videos online, when I was going through it, I was so excited for the people I was watching. I'm like, God is so good. So I want to encourage you to be excited for the testimony you just heard. Thank the Lord for that, right? And just see yourself thanking God for your own thing, for your own testimony, whatever you're waiting for, because He's just a faithful God. He's just a faithful God. He's not a respecter of persons. So yeah, you guys, that's my testimony for how God gave me a home that I deliberately disqualified myself from. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below. What are you believing for? What are you waiting for right now? I want to hear your testimonies. I want to hear all the stuff. Let's chat down below in the comments and stay tuned for so much more content about my entrepreneurship journey while being pregnant, my home ownership updates, and all the things. So we're going to have so much fun on the channel this year. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Okay, see you guys in the next video. Remember, you are successful. Yes, even right now. Mwah.